Hi guys, welcome back. It's finally that time of the year. I can't believe I'm here to wrap up 2023. Well, 2023 has been insane. It's been a roller coaster ride, but more than that, it has been a great year for my reading journey. I've read a lot of books. In case you guys don't know, 2022 was actually the year when I started understanding that I love reading, and this year I read a lot of books. Well, these are just a trailer, you know. So I thought, why not create an end of the year book tag? This is really famous on YouTube. I have a bunch of questions that I'm going to be answering with regards to the year 2023, especially my 2023 reading year. And I'm going to be answering each and every question with books. Well, not a book, books. Of course, I'm going to be using more than one book to answer a question because I love books. And if you're a bookworm like me and want some new book recommendations or want to enjoy an interesting book rapid fire, this is the video for you. So without any further delay, let's begin. So let's start with this bookish rapid fire. The first question is my most disappointing book of 2023. Now honestly, I won't categorize any book as disappointing because disappointment only occurs when you have a lot of high expectations with a particular book. So the book is not disappointing, it's just because of our high expectations with a book. When we start reading a book, we of course have a certain level of expectation about the book, and if we keep way higher expectations, then it is definitely going to cause a lot of disappointment. So there is not a book that I would categorize as disappointing, but there is this one book that I didn't like in comparison to all the other books that I've read this year, and it was this. It is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. So my only problem with this book is that it had a lot of bloodshed and action sequences and less of what I was expecting. So honestly, if I tell you guys about me as a reader in 3 words, I love reading thriller, plot twist and mystery books. Sort of like the same thing, and that is what I was expecting from this book. So I've heard a lot about the fact that this book has a lot of plot twists, and that is why I picked it up in the first place. But this book had less of like the story and more of bloodshed and lots of killing. And after a point of time, it was getting very triggering for me at some point. I wasn't able to finish it. I wasn't able to read it. I somehow managed to like skim through it, but I didn't have like my best experience with this book in comparison to all the other books that I've read. So definitely this is going to be not disappointing, but a book that I didn't like. Talking about the Underdog book, so I'm going to tell you guys all about this one. This is Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. The story behind this book is that me and my sister went to this bookstore the other day, and she doesn't like reading books, but she saw this cover and she was like, this looks so mysterious, you should definitely give this a try, because she knows I love books that have a lot of mystery and thriller in it. And I also saw the cover and I was like, okay, let's go with it. And I never purchase a book without reading about it, but this is the first time I picked up a book and I didn't know what it is about, and I had zero expectations from this book, to be very honest, because I had no idea what was it about. But this book, oh my god, I was dumbstruck. I was like, oh my god, what did I just read? It was amazing, okay? It was chef's kiss for sure. So this is an Underdog book that I would highly recommend you guys to read, and let me know what you think about it. I feel like there was no overhyped book from the books that I've read. Yes, I've read a lot of hyped books. I've read Lila, I've read November 9, Verity, Reminders of Him, and a lot of other books, Shatter Me series. But none of the books that I've read was overhyped. They completely did justice to all the hype that they were getting, and I loved all of them. I didn't feel like there was a book that was like, oh my god, there was so much hype about it. I started reading it and then I was like, blee, what is this? All of the books definitely were amazing, and whatever I've read about them is something that I've actually experienced while reading the book. So there was no overhyped book from my collection of the books that I've read. Oh my god, this is Rock, Papers and Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was the first book that I've ever read by Alice Feeney. This book literally was jaw-dropping. I definitely didn't expect the kind of ending that this book had. And to be very honest, I wasn't able to understand what happened. I was like, but what did just happen? It took me a lot of time to actually let it sink in. I was literally staring at the wall for 15 minutes after reading this book, and I was like, what did just happen? I wasn't able to understand anything because it happened so fast. If you like fast-paced books, you would love this. The writing style is like chef's kiss, and I would highly recommend you guys to read it and let me know what you think about it. Is this even a question if you've read the Shatter Me series? Of course, it's Warner and Juliet. When I started reading the Shatter Me series, I was like, oh my god, Adam and Juliet, why do we care about Warner? But as the series progressed, I was like, oh my god, Warner and Juliet are pro, okay? Once I started reading it, I understood the kind of bond that the writer has portrayed between the two. And I obviously can't talk more about it because I'll give you guys spoilers, which I don't want to. But the way the writer has portrayed their connection is the reason why so many people love Warner and Juliet, and I love them too. My favorite book characters are of course going to be Warner from Shatter Me series, especially from Ignite Me. Second is going to be Ben from November 9. Third is going to be Leisure from Reminders of Him. I loved all of these characters, even Juliet. I feel like these characters, the way they have been portrayed is amazing, and I love and relate to them on another level. The way that they have showcased such an unconditional and compassionate nature. At the same point of time, they can also do anything and everything if treated wrong. That is amazing, and that is something that I really like. The way Ben waited every single year for her was like amazing, and the way Ledger accepted her was, oh my god. Reminders of Him is like such a great book, and you should definitely give it a try. My new favorite authors from this year would definitely be Sarah Adams. I read her It Happened Once in Nashville series and I loved it. I really like her writing style. It's very fun, at the same point of time it's very deep. So that is something that I really like. Secondly, I really loved Harry Murphy after reading Shatter Me. I would definitely love to read more from her. And I loved Alice Feeney from Rock, Papers and Scissors. Do let me know in the comment section below which book I should read from her next. I'm looking forward to read more from her because I loved her writing in Rock, Papers and Scissors. You are asking this from a person who reads and breathes thriller. Well, but honestly speaking, I loved Believe Me. It's a novella from Shatter Me. It's such a happy novella. It's actually the last novella slash book in the series and I love it. Of course, I cannot tell you guys anything about it because it's the last book and that would be a major spoiler. But when you will read it, you'll actually understand that such a happy novella. The second one is The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. Drew and Jessica, oh my god, they had such a fun relation with one another. I really enjoyed reading this book and would highly recommend you guys to read it. I didn't even stress for like once in the book, which is amazing. And yeah, I really like it. Honestly, every single thriller book is frustrating at some point or the other because when you are just about to reach the truth, you're like, oh my god, now I found out who is the killer and I found out what has happened, and then again the story is stretched, there is a complete new POV and you're like, oh my god, what is happening? So every single thriller book is frustrating and there is not a single particular book that I would say is frustrating to me. Every single book has a particular reading experience that you need to go through. So there wasn't a particular book that I was like, I can't read it. This year in particular, there wasn't a book that was quite frustrating. I really enjoyed reading every single book that I've read so far. Honestly, I love reading books rather than watching book adaptations because I feel like books are like a major thing for me. Although you guys know that I love watching movies, but I don't know, I feel like book adaptations is just not something that I like. I have watched one which is Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins and I really liked that. That was like a really good one. You can watch it on Netflix. And other than that, I've seen a few snippets of The Summer I Turned Pretty on Amazon Prime. That is also like a really good one so far. I actually pretty liked it. So the longest and the shortest book are both from the same series. Yes. The longest book is this one. This is Imagine Me. This is from the Shatter Me series. And this is what the book looks like. First of all, look at the cover. It's so pretty. This book is of 480 pages and this is like the most massive book that I've read this year and I absolutely loved it. There wasn't even a point when I felt like the story was stretched, so I love reading this book. The shortest book that I read this year was of 72 pages. It was a novella named Reveal Me, which is in between two books in Shatter Me series. For me, honestly, my favorite covers are the ones from the Shatter Me series. Like I talked about the cover of Imagine Me, every single book has such a beautiful cover, but my favorite has to be the one that is on Believe Me. Such a deep cover. Once you read the book, you will understand everything about it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful cover with the sparkles. I really like it, and it definitely motivates you to read it and not feel sad that the series is over. Other than that, I also like Verity's cover. Ones who have read it know why I'm saying this, but Verity's cover is like really meaningful and really deep. It's not like a simple cover. You will get to know once you read the book. Cringiest book. Well, there is not a book that I would say is cringy, but according to me, one book that I felt like was a little childish was this one. This is The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. This is the first book of It Happened Once in Nashville series. Even the second book, it's a little childish, but I like it. It's not cringy, but yeah, it's definitely something that's not very serious, so it's a little cringy. Unpopular book, Before I Go to Sleep. I've talked about it. I loved that book, and I feel like people don't talk about it enough. Even I personally found out about it at a random bookstore, so not a lot of people talk about it. I don't know why. It's like a really good book that you should definitely give a try. For this question, I have to talk about a lot of books. So the first one being the Shatter Me series. This book is like very different, has a very unique concept. It's about a dystopian world. Definitely something different. If you haven't read anything like this before, this will be a unique concept for you. And if you read the entire series, you'll find out about a lot of things, okay? A lot of unique concepts, a lot of unique ideations, a lot of unique revelations. So this is definitely a unique concept that I would highly recommend you guys to read. Next is Silent Patient. It is about a painter. She's very famous, but just after her husband dies, she creates a painting and it has a hidden message in it. It's all about that, and it has such huge revelations. It is related to psychology, and I am a psychology student, so I love this. Before I Go to Sleep, such a nice one. It has a very unique concept of a woman who is unable to remember anything, okay? So one day she'll remember something and the next day she forgets about it. So it's a new fresh page for her every single day. Very unique concept for you to read about. Rock, Paper and Scissors, again a very unique concept about a husband and wife who are going to a place in order to patch up their relationship or either get divorced, and they come across a lot of things, and I cannot reveal more about it, but it's like a really unique concept. November 9, a book where a guy and a girl meet each other on November 9th every single year, and they are strangers, but later there are a lot of revelations and there is a lot to it. But I really feel like this is such a unique concept of meeting once in a year, and you get to know a lot of things, a lot of different ways in which their relation progresses with every single year. It's like a really unique concept. A book that I haven't stopped thinking about, or a book that I will never stop talking about, is Verity. Once you read about it, you will get to know the fact that you will never be able to forget it. You will never be able to stop thinking about it. It's such that with every single day that you will think about it, you will get to know about it more. You will go into much deeper detail yourself. You will channel your thoughts about the book and you will get to know a lot more things about it if you will think about it every single day. And honestly, since the day that I've got done reading it, I've never stopped thinking about it. It's a book that I will never ever stop bragging about. So definitely that's a book that I love and can't stop thinking about. The lowest rated book is this one. This is The Off Limits Rule, and it was rated only 3.68 stars on Goodreads. Honestly, I feel like this deserves much more. I do understand why people have rated it less, but I feel like this book does deserve at least a 4-star. But I know why people feel like this is like only 3 stars, because they've read a lot of other books by Sarah Adams. This is like the only books that I've read so far by her. So according to me, I would give my ratings on the basis of this book. But people are comparing this book with a lot of her other books such as When in Rome and Off Limits Rule, The Cheat Sheet, and that is why they're saying that this book deserves a low rating. So of course, I don't know in comparison to the other books, but I feel like this book at least deserves like a 4-star rating. And the highest rated book is Ignite Me, which is at 4.47 stars. It deserves all the love, okay? And I gave it 5 stars because that is the book wherein you get to know about everything. I cannot say anything, but that is the main book where Warner is introduced and his character is developed, and that is even my favorite book in the series. My favorite book quote is from Shatter Me Book 1, which is called Shatter Me, and the quote is that raindrops are only reminders that clouds have a heartbeat. Oh my god, when I read it I was like, that's deep. But I really like that quote, and I've even like annotated it. I really like, in fact, all the quotes in Shatter Me are like really good, and the way that I've portrayed Juliet's thoughts are amazing. Books that I would reread. I feel like I would love to reread the entire Shatter Me series, no doubt. That is a book that I would actually enjoy if I reread it, because other than that, a lot of thrillers, you are unable to reread because you know what is going to happen. But Shatter Me is the book that I'm actually going to be enjoying the reading experience. So my Goodreads goal this year was to read 25 books. I am not done with the goal yet. I'm on 23rd book. But hopefully I'm going to be like done with it by the end of the year. Goals for 2024 are all about prioritizing coming out of my comfort zone, trying different genres. I have never read fantasy like a lot. I want to actually go out of my comfort zone and try that and just see what it is all about. Maybe I find some new books that I really like, trying books from different authors, and I just want to get out of my comfort zone for 2024. For my reading goal, I actually don't want to make this experience like a burden on myself by keeping a very unrealistic goal for me. Maybe 24 or 25 books is going to be my goal, because I don't want it to be a burden. I want it to be a very pleasurable hobby, a very good experience of me reading books, and I feel like that would really help me to develop my reading habits a little bit more and for me to dive into this experience. And that was everything about my end of the year book tag. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching and you guys found out some good book recommendations. I also do need your recommendations, so do drop them down in the comment section below. I'm gonna catch you guys super soon. Take care. Goodbye.